to one mother and her controversial treatment for her son's autism. She says medical marijuana baked into brownies not only changed some profound behaviors of her child, but also saved his life. She's speaking out for the first time on network television here with us this morning on GMA, and we will hear from her in a moment. But first, more on her story.
Let's go. Let's go.
Today, 10-year-old Joey Perez is thriving, but his mother, Miko, believes it wasn't conventional medicine that cured him of some of the severe symptoms of autism. Instead, she credits these brownies, baked with a controversial ingredient, medicinal marijuana.
Any kid would love brownies, mom's brownies.
She believes the drug prescribed by a doctor has saved Joey's life. Before the treatment, she described him as hostile and dangerous, and his weight dropped to 46 pounds.
You could see the bones in his chest. My son was going to die.
Within weeks, she says he relaxed, made sounds for the first time, and gained 38 pounds. He went from taking 13 different kinds of medicine a day to just 3. Joey's psychiatrist warns marijuana is not a cure for autism, but says its effect on Joey's brain triggered hunger and altered his personality for the better.
He was clearly starving. He had droopy eyes. He had very poor eye contact. After he had began the medical marijuana, he was very bright-eyed and smiling and laughing. He was just a totally different boy.
Miko isn't the first parent to use cannabis to help their autistic child. A mother in Rhode Island blogs about giving it to her 9-year-old boy in his cookies and tea. And the parents of Sam, a 10-year-old California boy, claim the medical marijuana they put in his melon has worked wonders. But many doctors say treating a child's autism that way is dangerous.
He's intoxicated, he's stoned. It means that he's under the influence of a drug and may have an addiction. It can cause psychosis, may lead to schizophrenia. There is no evidence at all at this time and no reason to prescribe any kind of marijuana for a child with autism.
Still, Miko believes without it, Joey may not be alive today. For Good Morning America, Andrea Canning, ABC News.
And Joey's mother, Miko Hester Perez, is here along with Ted Cromwell, who's an attorney and longtime friend of the family. And thank you for being here. I watched your face. I heard your reaction when that doctor said stoned. He's stoned. You said not at all. What do you mean?
Not at all. My son, for whatever reason, and I know that we need to do further research, the marijuana has balanced my son.
All right, let's begin at the beginning. And I want to establish, first of all, for people who've never heard of this, and first reaction is shock. How did you hear about it?
At first, I did some research, and I found a doctor that actually had a protocol for medical marijuana for children diagnosed with autism.
And people have asked, what is your position on marijuana? Have you ever taken marijuana? Do you use marijuana?
No, I do not. This is completely out of my character.
I've never used it?
Never.
And what were the behaviors that drove you to seek out this dramatic, if not controversial?
My son had self-injurious behaviors. He was extremely aggressive. He would run out of our home.
It's called
he was
eloping,
a danger. Yes,
right? When he would just dart away.
He was a danger to himself and others.
And how soon after you gave him this did it change?
Within hours. Within hours, he had requested food that we had never seen him eat before. His demeanor had changed. He was calm.
And I want to repeat again, he at one time I know was on 13 medications, then he had come down to 6, and now how many does he need?
He's on 3, technically 2.5. We're using 1 as needed, and Dr. Hedrick is working with me to remove 1 more.
Mr. Cromwell, let me ask you, because the American Academy of Pediatrics has said that this is not scientifically validated, that it has not been tested, it could be dangerous for children. Are some of these providers, and these are medical providers in California, but are some of these providers just taking advantage of a truly heartbreaking situation?
Well, the key comment in that statement is that it hasn't been tested, and that's why we're here on Good Morning America. We want to bring awareness to the situation. Miko started a foundation. We want to open lines of communication so it can be tested properly. The quote from the original doctor said there's no evidence. this is the time to do the testing, do the research, to get the evidence to prove it.
And how much are you giving each week? And I read that you don't have to give it every week, that
No,
in fact it can carry over week to week.
The medications that he was previously on, we were giving him 3 times a day. Okay? Right now, we may give him a brownie once every couple of days, every 2 to 3 days. We're not overloading his system with the medical marijuana. And the brownies are no bigger than a quarter. I mean, we're very small, quarter size,
amount.
yes. And he's healthy.
I know he can't speak, he still can't communicate with you, but to anyone out there again who says, marijuana, we know what marijuana does, it's recreational, it is about being stoned, as we said at the beginning. What do you say back to them when you look in his eyes?
I saved my son's life, and marijuana saved my son's life. When a mother hears that their son is knocking on death doors, you will do anything to save your child's life. And the research that we need for this medical marijuana needs to be done, and it needs to be done now.
Well, again, Miko, thank you so much for coming in, and we know that these are dilemmas that are right at the center of your heart.
Yes.
And we thank you so much for being here, and let us know what you think.